Okay, so basically, 3 egg yolks, a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of salt, a little bit of my steaming water, my simmering water. And this is what takes the longest amount of time, is continuously whisking this on top. You'll see it starts to get frothy. That's a good sign. I'm incorporating air, which is what's causing those bubbles. And I'm continuously whisking, because if I don't, this could get too hot, and then I'm going to end up with scrambled eggs. And you do not want that to happen. So again, whisking, whisking. We're going to get to that ribbon stage. We still got a little bit. This whole process takes about 3 to 5 minutes on top. And if I ever feel like it's getting too hot, don't do that. Don't dip your rag in there. You just take it off and whisk it over here. But this is actually at a pretty constant temperature, so I'm going to leave it on here. Since we had the fiasco, which I'm just going to cough out, stealing all the propane in the building, taking it to the bakery. And then once we make this sauce, I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite breakfast dishes, Eggs Benedict, and it uses Hollandaise sauce as a sauce on top, okay? And it's going to incorporate a couple different cooking methods. I'm starting to get a little bit of action happening in here. It'll start by, you'll see lines where your whisk goes in the bottom. I don't know if you can see. Can you see inside the bowl? Can you tip it? But it's starting to leave a little bit, so we're getting closer. And I see my steam escaping, so I'm just going to turn it down a little bit more. Whisk, whisk, whisk. All right, we're getting close. I'm looking for a little bit of a ribbon phase. Like right now, I can see some of my streaks at the bottom of my pan. That's cooking these egg yolks. Now, Hollandaise likes to set at a temperature about 130 degrees. If you get it too hot, it'll break, which means that the butter that we're going to incorporate in the second step is going to separate from your eggs. And you really have to make sure you're taking the time to get your eggs to a place where they're ready to accept that butter, or it's never going to emulsify. All right, see my frothiness here? Getting a little bit of a ribbon phase, and that happens just that quickly. Okay, now comes the fun part. I'm going to start adding to this. I'm actually going to take this one off. Time out for a second. Take this one off and replace it with my pan. Because we're going to use the pan in a second. So now I've got my frothy eggs, and see the ribbons? It's very foamy. Now I have to take my butter, and I'm going to incorporate this very slowly. So I'm actually going to put this down so my bowl doesn't run away from me. Helps a little bit there. And very slowly, I have about 12 ounces of butter that I melted. And then I took my spoon and I took some of the milk solids that float to the top, off the top of it, because butter is particularly made of milk solids and water, and then when you melt it, the butter's left behind. See, we're starting to get frothy. That's good. I have to take this process slowly, because if I add it all too much at once, it's not, the yolks are not going to take my butter, and then my sauce is going to break and it's going to get lumpy. And that's not what I want. I want a nice, frothy, beautiful Hollandaise. The color of your Hollandaise will also depend on the color of your egg. So like if you go to, let's say, a farmer's market, or maybe you raise your own chickens, you can get farm fresh eggs that have a much deeper yellow color in the yolk, and that's going to affect the color of your Hollandaise. Mine are Gordon Food Service special, so they're not fresh from the farm, right off the farm. The butter that you use also can determine the quality and richness of your hollandaise sauce. So I'm just using regular butter, again, for the food service special. If I use something like European butter, which has a higher fat content, then I'm going to get a richer hollandaise sauce. Again, still whisking, still incorporating air. My nice frothy sauce here, exactly what I want it to be. And I'm going to continue to add my butter, streaming it in there, making sure that it's all getting incorporated. So now, one last go around. I'm not going to add all of this. Just a tiny bit more. This was about 12 tablespoons or a stick and a half of butter. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to add more of my lemon juice. That acid is going to help solidify this emulsion, and it gives it that tang that we really, really want. And now, to keep my hollandaise warm while I show you the rest of my Benedict, I'm going to just put it right on top of here. And the heat is off, but it's still going to stay warm because it's still steaming. Okay, quick step here with the Benedict. I have a pan, and to this pan I'm going to add some Canadian bacon. You can get super fancy and add something like Parma ham to it if you want. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of butter here because I have some left over to my pan. So who doesn't want a little bit of fat added to it? I do. So I'm going to add my butter, or my butter I did add. I'm going to add my ham to this. This is Canadian bacon. Tastes just like ham. I guess in Canada they say it's different. I don't know. I'm just going to let this heat. I didn't let my pan get hot, so that's why you're not hearing any applause. Let this heat, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to do our eggs. I shall put this on the back burner and let this go and show you how we are going to poach our eggs. So I have here some water, and it's simmering away. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I don't want it to be too boiling, and I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar because I'm going to drop my egg directly into this water. The vinegar is actually going to help my egg whites to solidify around the yolk, which is what happens in a poached egg. Now, here's a trick. If you don't want to do it just by dropping your egg in there, you can actually break your egg into a cup and do it this way. Start by taking your spoon, stir this around so it creates like a little bit of a cyclone, and drop your egg right into it. And the egg white is going to form around the yolk. So I'm just going to repeat that for my other eggs, cracking it into this is a half cup measurement, adding a little bit of velocity going in here, drop that in, crack, drop her in, heat up a little, crack, drop it in. Now there'll be some part of the egg white that kind of separates itself and doesn't close up around the egg, and that's okay. But we're gonna let that hang out for a little bit and poach. Let me check my pan, which I never turned the heat on. Let me go wash my hands, I'll be right back. This is where I need editing skills, Mr. To edit, chop, and paste. I always use my daughter and say, here, do this one. Right. It's faster for you to do it than the talent. It's good, you want it to do that. Just gonna flip my bacon real quick. Not bacon, Canadian bacon. Okay, so now my eggs are nice and frothy. So this little guy here fish these out for us. I have some paper towels, and this is gonna help soak up the extra stuff. So that poached egg was the last one I put in. I'm gonna let that one play around a little bit more. So here's my first one. And then this excess egg white, I don't need. My second one. And I'm just letting it drain on the towel because I don't want this to get too soggy. My ham is done. So I'm just quickly gonna take my English muffins, put them in my pan and let them soak up all the fat that rendered and toast that really quickly on my back burner here. Egg number 3, I'll bring out, set him down, and egg number 4. See? Now, I want to make it pretty, so I'm going to take the excess egg white off of these, and I'll show you the finished product. And while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and chop up my green. Grab a couple plates. English muffin. Toasting your English muffin also helps not to get it too soggy because we're adding egg and sauce to it. A couple strips of Canadian bacon on top. Each slice. Beautiful egg. Careful as to not break them. Here, baby. And now, you little runaway. Okay, now finishing touch, my Hollandaise. Actually, let me use this big bat spoon. A little bigger than what I need. One whisk, just to refluff. Beautiful. Right on top, each of my eggs. Might as well use all this glorious sauce. This would be great on asparagus, broccoli, fish. And then make it nice. Eggs Benedict with French Hollandaise sauce.